This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here on the channel this evening. I know, it's late. I'm asking a lot. It's a Monday night. Most nights I'd already be in bed at this point, it seems. But tonight, it's minus 30. A little cold in here, gotta get something going, so let's get to it. I've been meaning to get to this for a couple of days now, obviously, since we saw what happened on Saturday night with Jujhar Khaira and Sam Gagner swapping spots, one in the press box, one in the lineup, and the one in the lineup not named Jujhar Khaira, that being Sam Gagner. So, it's time we get to it, obviously. Is that little bit of rumbling in the distance. You hear it often this time of year. It's January 13th. That trade deadline just over a month away in the NHL. And obviously, the Oilers in a precarious situation, right? Is the Oilers trying to look for something to finish off this team, whether it be a third line centerman. Defense, honestly, I feel is something maybe we should look at. Some people yelling about goaltending between Smith and Koskinen, right? Everybody's still yelling about a top six winger, although that sure has quieted down since Kailer Yamamoto came up on New Year's Eve. That aside, this Oilers team still maybe a piece or two away from having something useful, right? Like obviously a deep playoff run is kind of that something useful, and we'd like that, but for many people, there's still something missing before we can have that either this season or next. And well, you know what? That may begin with figuring out what to do with Jujhar Khaira, right? As obviously a guy who's taking up roster space right now. JJ, I'll go get his stats for you right now because I thought I had this figured out, but I'm not that smart. Instead, I watched my old video back from the summertime when I said maybe re-signing Jujhar Khaira isn't the smart thing to do. And it seems to halfway through the season kind of been the right take, because let me tell you, it has not been a good go for JJ since his re-signing with the Oilers. He's had a total of 50 points in 196 games in the NHL. But as I'll get to you in a second, Jujhar Khaira stats 2020. I'll get this to you. Hold on. Just you stay patient a minute. Let me get this for you. Holy crap, there's me from 2018. But, where are we at? There we are. Hold on. There we be. Let me go get Jujhar Khaira into the relevancy of this conversation and his stats, because this is going to be something for you guys to look at, kind of mull over. It's been a weird season for JJ. That's all I can say really there as well, is he hasn't had quite the season he'd hoped for, and not the season we hoped for him either. So these are his stats since entering with the Oilers back from 15-16. 2 assists in those first 15 games, then 1 point in 10 games, so a little bit of a letdown there in 16-17, and then 17-18, 21 points. And we thought we had found money. That 11-goal season, 10 assists out of Jujhar Khaira, a dismal 17-18 season, but that's not so much credit probably, looking in hindsight, is probably credit to how bad the team was, as opposed to how good of a player Jujhar Khaira was. But you compare that, right? Is obviously we still romanticize about that Jujhar Khaira that went out there and beat up a couple of guys in 21-point seasons, 69 games played, nice, and really did a good job that season all around. I have great memories from what I watched, what little I watched, because of spending every Friday, Saturday, Wednesday, and Sunday at a junior B rink in St. Paul, Cold Lake, Wainwright, or wherever the heck I was that season. So 21 points, 69 games, great. Then we get the letdown season, 18 points in 60 games played. Now, it's not quite technically a letdown last year, still 18 points, so Jujhar Khaira, we'd take it, especially in the role he's in this year. However, 60 games played, only 3 goals. That was the dangerous part. Now you've got 42 games. He's got 6 goals, 2 assists, 8 points, minus 15. Yeah, it's starting to pile up real bad real quick for Jujhar Khaira this season. Now a healthy scratch in the press box. Sam Gagner's taking his spot in the Battle of Alberta. Oh boy, yeah, it's getting ugly. So, that's where, like I said, those rumblings off in the distance. Hey, hold on a second. I hear him. Trade Jujhar Khaira. Yeah, that's kind of the conversation that I think a lot of people, if they haven't had it already online or with their friends, are going to start having a little bit more regularly, because Jujhar Khaira right? A guy that we brought up in the system, and I said that exact same thing in my video when I was talking about not re-signing Jujhar Khaira being a good idea this past offseason. Well, now all of a sudden, right, you've stuck by your man. He's not worked out well, and now all of a sudden you're scratching him and you're hoping for a wake up and you're hoping it sparks something. And I've been plenty wrong before. Don't kid myself. I wanted Tyler Benson over Kailer Yamamoto, and now look at me. I'm drooling all over Yamamoto's stats through his first 6 games with 5, 6, 7 games with the Oilers. $1.2 million cap hit for Jujhar Khaira. Now, here's the thing for the Oilers, right? Is $1.2 million. You look at the Edmonton Oilers, our current cap space, 951. Now, we go back. If I'm talking about trading Jujhar Khaira for anything, right? Obviously 951, that's $951,000 plus 1.2 on Jujhar Khaira. You cap out pretty much at a $2.1 million cap hit for the player you're bringing back if you're trading Khaira plus a pick or whatever you do to get that going. Now, yes, get some other guys involved. Well, this is where it gets tricky because I think if you're going to get some other guys involved, you're not going to get anyone involved up front, right? If a team's trading for both Jujhar Khaira and Sam Gagner, that's highly questionable because I don't think somebody's sitting here waiting to pick off the scraps from the Oilers, right? Obviously, maybe if both were on the waiver wires, yes, but to give anything up for Jujhar Khaira plus Sam Gagner of value, I doubt it. That's probably why we haven't seen it. I'm going to logic out Ken Holland's warpath here to trading anybody is the simple fact if we haven't seen the trade, it's because the trade's not worthwhile, i.e. yes, a Puljujärvi. Well, okay, that's dandy. So how do you move anyone, right? Alex Chiasson suddenly proving more so what we like out of Chiasson, and he's not that 20 goal scorer, but he's a guy that's very serviceable and he's been serviceable. So if it's not Chiasson, Gagner, or Jujhar Khaira, what does this team have to trade? Well, let's get over to discussing something else that I discussed, right? Possibility of upgrading the defense. And this is what you'd look at, right? If you can bring up Tyler Benson to fill in Jujhar Khaira, I know I talk about it often, it's just got to happen at some point, and everything I talk about with the Oilers happens about 3 weeks later or never happens, i.e. same thing with calling up Benson, but then it was Yamamoto, but I said stale Oilers needed to make a change. They brought up Yamo, look where we've been. Now, that said, I'm going to talk about trading Jujhar Khaira plus one of our defensemen. Now, probably you can either go high to low, and I will go high to low on this. You go with Darnell Nurse, get something really spectacular back. Go with Adam Larsson, get something pretty good back. Or go with Chris Russell and get something pretty okay back. Right? As you have your tiers of how that could go and how this Oilers team could make things work. But definitely several ways this Oilers team could go about and get this trade with a Jujhar Khaira done, because Jujhar Khaira is that added value that we aren't getting. You know what I mean? It's a simple formula, right? Is you're not getting value, but Jujhar Khaira at 1.2 million, right? In the offseason, I thought we were going to sign him for probably 1.5. 1.2, that's 300,000 in cap space. That's very valuable, especially for a team that's looking to maybe make a couple of moves in the offseason to retool. While Jujhar Khaira, expiring contract the year after next, or after next season, I guess is how you should word it. So 1.2 for 2 years. He's got control this season and next. You're able to evaluate him, do what you want to do, and figure him out. And if you have to bury him in the minors, you just bury him in the minors. So it's just added value, and especially like you think, right? If it's an Oilers issue, then he'll bounce back and be value added for your lineup down the stretch if you trade for him. If it's not, you bury him. It's realistically not that bad, especially considering if you can get Darnell Nurse, Adam Larsson, and third tier Chris Russell. It depends on what your need is, what you want to do, and what you need to look at. And that's the weird part, right? Is you can probably trade Jujhar Khaira and a pick for something, but getting that value, and especially making the cap space work as Ken Holland, probably not going to happen. But looking at it from you can upgrade the defense, and technically speaking, you don't need to upgrade the defense because you could technically trade, even if you are trading Darnell Nurse. I know that seems a little bit crazy mid-season. I know off-season it's something we've already talked about, but mid-season, if you're looking at trading to upgrade the forward lines, possibly you could totally definitely do it, and it would be a weird get, right? You could definitely get a deadly third line center and somebody that maybe could pivot to wing if you have to replace Kyler Yamamoto and resend him down because he struggles at some point. There's several options that the Oilers could go with when trading Jujhar Khaira plus something. Even Sam Gagner, to an extent, you could probably get something decent for, enough in our bottom six to change something, but it's all about what's Ken Holland willing to give up. And Ken Holland's already stated not really willing to part with those draft picks this year. So if the draft picks are off the table, you look to the defense. If the defense is off the table, you look to the prospects. And I mean, I know I haven't talked about possibly trading Caleb Jones or anything, but I think there's, right, in anything you do, you have to free up cap space. And even if you trade Jones, the most cap space you free up is just over 2.9, not even 3 million, if I've got my math off the top of my head correct. So look at it that way. There's several options still the Oilers have to evaluate here, and Jujhar Khaira is maybe the wheel that gets the grease, right? And the fact that he's the tip of the iceberg that makes a trade happen, but it's the rest of the pieces that are probably a little bit more noteworthy at this point than Jujhar Khaira. Guys, let me know. What do you think the Oilers trade discussions start with Jujhar Khaira? Is Jujhar Khaira even in discussion? What would you do with this Jujhar Khaira trade talk? Let me know. I'm Tyson, this is Dolynny TV. As always, I will catch you in next one.